welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com. Hello, beautiful people of Steelers Nation. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Noah Strackbine, joined every Tuesday and Thursday by my main man, Donnie Droon. The Pittsburgh Steelers started OTAs. Apparently have already announced the starting quarterback, have a brand new offensive line set, and still no Stephon Tuitt, but the hope is there. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/allsteelerstalk. And as always, use our promo code at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. Donnie, it was a beautiful day to stand out there at OTAs. I'm definitely going to be roasted like a tomato tomorrow. How you feeling, my friend?
Feeling pretty good. I got the AC kicking right now. Cool, 93 degrees here in Phoenix. It's supposed to hit triple digits this weekend, which I'm not excited about. So I think this will be like the first of many, many weekends coming up here in a couple months where I'm just going to stay inside. Like going outside, first of all, is super expensive. You spend at least $100 every time you step outside for no reason at all.
Wait, whoa, what do you mean?
Bro, it's a joke. Like if you step outside, you end up going somewhere, you end up like spending money on like something stupid, and it's like
gas. You spend $100. I drive a Kia. I drive a truck. Okay, got rid of the truck. Then get rid of the truck. Bought a used Kia because I couldn't do it to myself anymore to fill the truck up with gas. Still cost me $100 to fill the Kia up with gas. So I agree with that one. And then I get that it was supposed to go a different way, but gas.
You ain't wrong.
But good. I'm glad that you spent it inside. I don't ever leave my house ever. Like ever. I have no friends or social life. All I do is work. So you're my human contact.
You're just getting your money's worth. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Like with rent going up and like the mortgage payments and like interest rates going up. Like, dude, it's actually financially better for you to just soak up all the square footage you have.
That's what I'm saying. I put a couch in the office. The Xbox is here. I got a TV. I got 4 cats, which are way too many cats.
What are you doing?
That's what I'm just living it up. Now, if you saw the couch is wrinkly. Like it's from my girlfriend's old apartment. It's the cats like ripped it up to the point where it's like basically just hanging at this point, but it's comfortable. It's good to nap on every once in a while. I got the biggest TV in the house in my office because obviously it's a good time.
What kind of couch are we talking about? Are we like? It's
just like a little red. It's red. It's a red little couch. Yeah. Okay. Nothing crazy. Nothing.
No black casting couch.
No black casting couch. Just a normal red, gross girlfriend's house couch. All right, but anyways, this Pittsburgh Steelers started OTAs today. Obviously, plenty of headlines coming out of there. I think more headlines than I expected to come out of there. It is definitely the season where the media, myself included, like to blow everything up. I'll be the first person to admit that. But it's what we do. It's our living. That's how I make a livelihood. First thing that we have to talk about, Stephon Tuitt, still a no-show. However, Cam Hayward and Tyson Alualu both said that they fully expect him to be a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. And to be quite honest with you, I have never heard Cam Hayward sound so confident when talking about Stephon Tuitt. Never. There's been a lot of times where he's like, oh, man, I hope that he's doing well, this, that. This time it was like, he's going to be here. And I know he's going to be here. He's been working. And I'm like, all right, I believe you. For the first time, I believe you. I don't know if there's anything to talk about other than when do you think that is? When do you think the deadline is for Stephon Tuitt to finally show his face in Pittsburgh again?
I mean, if you're the Steelers, is there a deadline for him? I feel like if at any point you can get a guy like Stephon Tuitt back, you're going to bring him back. But, I mean, from the comments that you had told me that guys like Cam said and guys like Alualu had said, I feel like their words and, what they say might be worth its weight in gold when compared to everybody else because Stephon Tuitt's going to talk to anybody on this team. It's going to be somebody on the defense. It's going to be somebody on the defensive line. And especially a guy like Cam, who, it's like bona fide leader in the locker room. It feels like he's the guy. It's just making sure everybody's chickens are in a row or ducks, whatever you want to say. He's the guy basically orchestrating everything on that defensive side of the ball, making sure things are straight for whenever they need to be straight. hopefully it sounds like Cam has been in communication with Tuitt, and that's why he said he for sure knows that Tuitt is going to be there at some point. To answer your question, when should we expect him? Training camp would be cool. I mean, obviously you'd like to see him at like mandatory like OTAs and all that other great stuff too. But we've touched on this so many times too, where like coming back from the stuff he's coming back from, there's really no great way to kind of like push him along. It's kind of whenever he feels best. Hopefully that's during training camp or during the preseason before the start of the regular season, because the Steelers will need him. On the field, and they will need him to kind of hit that form that we saw before he got hurt 2 years ago. They need him, but most importantly, Stephon Tuitt needs himself, and he needs to be 100% physically and mentally. So until that happens, I'm just not going to want to push the Tuitt issue one way or another.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Obviously, it's a big thing, and I touched on this, earlier today, that football is a different job than just your everyday job. It's not like, you tragedy happens, you have so long, and then you got to get back to normal life. Like, football is your entire life. You don't get to spend time with your family. You don't really go home much. Like, you just go to practice, you lift weights, you eat super healthy, you train, you maybe see your wife and kids if you have a wife and kids. But besides that, like, there's not really a lot of emotional time to decompress. And I think that because of that, you can't really push them. So I agree with that. I would say that my expectation for Stephon Tuitt is to be back during mandatory minicamp, which I believe starts June 14th or something like that, runs 14th to the 16th. I think that's the first time we see Tuitt in a year. And that's the first time that we see a lot of questions get answered. Is he in shape? Because last year, you have to remember, when Tuitt showed up at training camp, he was really out of shape. And it was clear to tell that he was out of shape. And then he disappeared for a while. He came back and he looked like he was in better shape, but you could still tell that he was still not in football shape. It's going to be a big if on whether or not he is in football shape, because he's 28 years old. He's got an injury history. At this point, you're starting to think, is this guy going to be able to physically play the game after missing a whole year? And I think that's a huge question that we have not answered. So I think that's a big if, and that's something that we could see at mandatory minicamp. But I agree with you. No need to push. We shouldn't be pushing, And honestly, the conversation is very dull because at this point, like, everything's said that needs to be said. It's just, when is he going to show up? This is big news. We get it. That's all it is. It's just big news that we have to be chilling on until he actually shows up.
Yeah, well, hopefully the conversation steers from if and when Tuitt shows up to now potentially when he shows up. Thanks to those comments from guys like Cam Hayward and Alualu, who I feel like, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, probably a little bit more closer to him and might be more trustworthy whenever it comes to getting stuff from Tuitt like that compared to anybody else in the locker room.
Yeah. They're definitely his confidants. They're definitely the people that he's going to go to. And, like I said, like, Cam's the first dude that I believed in this entire time that's like, Stephon really could be coming back, because he does sound that confident. It is exciting. It's good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially because Chris Wormley did not practice today. I don't know why, but he didn't practice today. That's a big hit if you're down to, who would it be? Isaiah Loudermilk as your third string tight end or defensive end. That's not really a great place to start if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. The other guy that didn't show up to OTAs to start this off was wide receiver Diontae Johnson. Again, somebody that I saw not showing up. There's two parts to this story. We'll start with the fact that he did not show up to his youth football camp on Monday, I believe, Sunday. It was over the weekend. Apparently because of delayed flights coming from Florida. People seem to have an issue with that. I'm going to let you go first, because I feel I have a different opinion than anybody who has an issue with it.
Yeah, so I first and foremost want to say that I get it, because, like, if my son or daughter was very excited to go to this football camp, see Diontae Johnson, probably get a picture with him or something cool like that, and be able to learn a thing or two from him, then yeah, I would definitely feel at least a little bit irritated at the situation. that Diontae didn't show up because, these kinds of things happen not like once a year, but obviously with Diontae heading into the last year of his contract, we don't know what extension talks are looking like, at least from the outside. You don't really know what the future looks like for Diontae in Pittsburgh. So for that to have potentially been the last possibility for these kids to go and do something like that and to meet Diontae is very unfortunate. But on the other hand, the delayed flight is definitely something out of Diontae's control. And like when you step back, and I have like no horse in this race. When you step back and look at it, like I can't really pin Diontae for this. Because but both of us had experience with delayed flights trying to go back from Mobile after the Senior Bowl. Yours much more worse than my situation. So I can't really complain too much. But like I get it, I get it.
Yeah. Look, as somebody who spent what felt like 15 years in an airport trying to come back from the Senior Bowl, who was scarred. Like at this point, like I might never fly again. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not playing on the West Coast. It was the biggest blessing of my entire life, I feel. I'm considering driving to Miami because I can't do it. Like I am scarred to ever get on an airplane again because of how long I had to spend in the Pensacola airport. It's part of my life now. I get that delayed flights happen. And anybody who has an issue with it, like I understand the point that you made about the parents being upset, like definitely get that, no doubt about it. They said that they're going to give him a free event. If Diontae's there, in my opinion, everything is made up for. Yeah. Anybody who's turning this into anything more is ridiculous because Diontae Johnson did not show up. He didn't ghost anybody. He tried to get there. It didn't happen. Now, I get that if there was no warning before the event, then okay, maybe somebody should have said, hey, just so everybody's aware, Diontae is stuck in Florida. He cannot get here because of weather. Then you're like, okay, at least I had a heads up. If you just showed up and then you're disappointed, it is what it is. It's a bad situation, but I think it's a classic example of people making something out of nothing. And we make something out of nothing all the time. But this is just no big deal. Like, it's no big deal.
So if he, like you said, if he like made it up by going to another event or sending them like a signed picture or like a T-shirt or something like that, saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry, behalf of me, here's a signed thing," and like maybe like make it like personally addressed like each kid that was supposed to attend to, because like they like have to have that like information available, right, for like waivers and stuff. And just
yeah. Just so everybody knows, it's $125 to show up to this camp.
Yeah, I would do my damn best just to make sure those kids got something for $125. Yeah.
Something. If they said that they're going to give them a free event, I mean, at that point, you still went to the camp. You still did all the camp events. Diontae Johnson's just there. Like, it's not like he's the only person helping 75 kids work a football field. There's a whole staff there, and they still did a whole football camp. If you could get another event out of that, that's free. It's free $125 event. Chances are he's going to do a little bit more to make up for it as well. I just feel as if this situation happened and then people made a big deal out of it. Don't get me wrong. I wrote the piece. Like, I wrote the report because the report was out there. I felt people made that report really negative, and it shouldn't have been. Like, it's just a circumstance.
As somebody who's actually been ghosted by Diontae for an interview that we had set up, like it's whatever,
It could be worse. You could be ghosted by Isaiah Buggs. That could happen too.
Oh, bro.
For those of you who don't know, Donnie's been ghosted by Isaiah Buggs, who has been ghosted by NFL teams left and right. So if anything, Donnie came out on top of that one.
Goes around, comes back around.
Easy. All right. Anyways, on the other side of that, OTA start, Diontae Johnson is not in town. When I heard that he missed his youth football camp, in my head that sparked, he's coming to Pittsburgh, so he's going to be in OTAs. Like, and that was a huge alarm in my head. Didn't show up, didn't surprise me. Only surprised me because of the circumstance that happened beforehand. Didn't surprise me because I didn't expect him to be there in the first place. Are you taking anything? Are you taking a hit on this? Like, Are you looking at it in a negative sense?
Nah, because we all know what time it is. It's time for Diontae to get paid. And why is Diontae going to show up if he's not being paid? And
Yep.
unfortunately, that's just kind of how the Steelers do things. They wait until the depths of the summer months to really start to pick up, their negotiations and what they want to do with everything else. And like Black and Yellow Texas still said in the chat, he's still training. He's been down in Florida working. I'm pretty sure I saw that on his Instagram the last couple of days or so, if I remember correctly. So it's not like he's showing up like in Eddie Lacy shape, the training camp, though. Like, I think he'll be ready to go when he's ready to go. But am I making a big deal out of this? No, not at all. Training camp might be a little bit different, but like for right now.
Did you see the picture of all the running backs, all the Pittsburgh Steelers running backs? Just thinking of Eddie Lacy here. Just see the picture of all the Steelers running backs? Just like squat up.
The only picture I saw was Najee's visor that said like beast mode written across it.
Oh yeah, Najee looks like an absolute freak.
I immediately thought he's going for like 1,800 yards this year.
Yeah, if Najee Harris stays healthy, dude's gonna rush for 2,000 yards. Like the dude looks like he looks unstoppable. It's insane how good he looked today. There's a picture. I hope I can find it at some point. I'll put it on Twitter of all the Steelers running backs. And, I don't try to be a hater, but sometimes I'm a hater. Benny Snell looks a little fat. Looks a little chunky. He's looking a little big. He's looking a little bit too much like Benny Snell is supposed to look. And I think that's a bad sign. I think it's a very bad sign, especially because the Pittsburgh Steelers have no other options. All right. Diontae Johnson. Here's my thoughts on Diontae Johnson. If you're making $3 million, which is a lot, I mean, for me and you, that's ridiculous.
Oh, that's great.
But just to put it into some context, Jordan Addison's about to make $3.5 million to go play for USC. Plus, they're buying him and his mama a house in Southern California. Value already is way higher than Diontae Johnson. Way higher than Diontae Johnson. Christian Kirk is making $20 million this year. $20 million. So at this point, that $3 million looks like scraps. And I get it. To me and you, I'll take $3 million all day. But if I knew that in 1 year I was going to make $25 million a year for the next 4 years, I wouldn't be in any hurry to put my body at risk for $3 million.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. He's training in Florida. You just confirmed that through his Instagram. I don't have an Instagram, so I want to know. He's just working. He'll be back. It's voluntary. Look, I'm not showing up. If I'm Diontae Johnson, there's zero chance I'm showing up to OTAs. And I think that's just the end of the whole conversation because what else is there to talk about? What is the other argument? Is there even another argument of, oh, well, he could be TJ Watt. He could work in. He could, what is it? He's a hold in. No.
Hold in.
No. You're going to make $3 million this season. He's going to show up at some point. There's no way he's going to hold out the whole year. He's not going to get a new contract this offseason, I don't believe. I think it's a pointless conversation to even have.
Yeah, just a little bit. And that goes back to something that Derek had said whenever me and him recorded on Saturday, to where the Steelers doing things the way they do sometimes can come back to bite them. So when you wait for a guy like Diontae and when you wait to sign him, that price tag could have definitely been lowered to what you're definitely looking at right now. Diontae is definitely training somewhere. I don't know if it's Florida, but he was definitely somewhere on his Instagram story.
Is that where you're looking now?
Yeah.
All right, so just to address a couple of things here. When you lead the league in drops, you better show up. You're wrong. Or not. Diontae Johnson led the league in drops 2 years ago. He did improve last year, and I will be the first person to admit that in key moments, Diontae Johnson had some really crucial bad drops. He's still better than Christian Kirk. He's still better than a lot of these wide receivers in the NFL. In my personal opinion, he's probably top 15 in the NFL, and you can expect another jump. So at $3 million, I don't care if I had some crucial drops. I'm still worth more than $3 million in today's wide receiver market. I'm not showing up. I'm just not showing up. And I get people are going to hate on me for that, but I'm not showing up. I don't care if I drop the ball or not. I'm working every day. Even if I'm not at the facility, I'm a football player. I'm training every single day. I'm just not showing up. I'm not showing up for $3 million. I don't care what the argument is.
couple different things. One, he's definitely training somewhere. I can't confirm whether or not it's Florida, but he's working right now. Whenever it comes to Diontae and the whole drops thing, and I've been extremely critical of him, like pretty much since his rookie season of, his inconsistencies with that. When you're looking at it from like Deontay's point of view, you kind of have the leverage there because, like, you drops the ball in some crucial situations, and he's not the first guy who's going to put his shoulder down and, run through contact. You're still their best receiver. You are still the Pittsburgh Steelers' number one receiver, and they know that they need you. Yeah. That is all the leverage you need for a new contract.
And even if he doesn't get a new contract, he's going to get it somewhere else. So there's no point. And, like, I'm not somebody that's like, hold out for a year, pull Le'Veon Bell, whatever. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm just saying that in voluntary workouts, I'm not showing up if my value's $3 million. Even if the Pittsburgh Steelers told me, like, hey, man, we're going to sign you to this mega deal, I'm not showing up until I ink it. Like, I'm just not. Now, if I have the understanding that I'm not going to get paid at all, and I don't believe Diontae Johnson is going to get paid, if we're being honest, I think my assumption right now is that Diontae Johnson will be on another team somewhere next season. I just think that that's just how it's going to turn out to be. And I don't think that has anything to do with anything besides the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers don't pay their wide receivers. They pay one at a time. It's not going to be Chase Claypool. By no means is it going to be Chase Claypool. But George Pickens and Calvin Austin allow them to have at least a gap year, and then they could go draft somebody to replace Chase Claypool, and they could just move on from there. And then they'll do it again. You know what I mean? Unless George Pickens turns into an absolute monster, chances are they'll replace him in 4 years. They'll replace Calvin Austin in 4 years, just like they replaced Juju in 4 years, and just like they replaced everybody else in 4 years, because that's just what they do. Diontae Johnson has not made his mark enough for me to say he's Antonio Brown or Hines Ward or whatever. And that's all business. None of it's like none of it's a hit on none of it's a hit on Diontae Johnson. I think he's a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL. I just think that that's how they operate, and that's how they're going to continue to operate. And that's just how I feel. So if I'm Diontae Johnson, I know a big contract's coming somewhere at some time. I'm not showing up until I have to show up. June 14th, which I believe. I could be wrong on that date, and I'm just saying it time and time again. To stay on the wide receiver talk real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Watched Miles Boykin and Gunnar Olszewski today. Gunner's wearing number 89. Awful.
Yep.
Awful number. Miles Boykin's wearing 13. Again, not really a huge fan of it. Boykin looks okay. Kind of gets lost in space, I feel. He's just like there. Gunner at least like looks like he's doing something. But if we're being totally honest, I don't expect Gunner to take the field as a wide receiver at all. And that's just the vibe I was getting. Like, he was working with like the fourth stringers. And I thought that was where he belonged. So I still think that Diontae Johnson has a ton of worth on this team. So I don't think that it's like a huge thing to get rid of him. And I think that all the pieces that people are going to toss out to get rid of him, they have to be known that it's a very strong decrease in value there. All right. We got a couple more things. I want to answer this question from Gage up here. How did Kenny Pickett do? Kenny Pickett looked good. He was the third string quarterback. I expected him to be the third string quarterback today. I don't think that has much to do with him or with anything else outside of the fact that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the number one guy until proven otherwise. And Mason Rudolph is unfortunately going to be the number two guy until proven otherwise. But I thought that he looked good. I don't think that, it's really hard to impress at OTAs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really hard to come in here and say, oh, that quarterback looked really good. Like it's a quarter. At one point, they were literally just playing catch. Like, it was just two quarterbacks lined up 15 yards from each other, just tossing the ball back and forth. And I was just like, this is good, man. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad
we're here. Get the cameras out.
Is it lunchtime yet? Could we go eat some lunch? It's just really hard. OTAs is a really, really tough situation. The best advice I ever got watching OTAs is it's not about finding out who's good. It's just finding out who's relevant and who's just being talked about. And I think a lot of names fit that description today. I don't think that a wide receiver or a quarterback was one of them. But major headlines in the quarterbacks, and we got to talk about it. But first, we got a word from our boys over at Manscaped. Sweaty sack summer is approaching, and it's time for you to prioritize the comfort of your crotch. That's why the kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. I've had the honor of testing these new boxers, and I can say it's the softest fabric of any underwear. So breathable that it's like gills for your groin. They even trademarked the jewel pouch, so you know it's serious. It's time you invest in your family jewels. So let your bulge breathe and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code ALLSTEELERS at manscaped.com. Donnie, this is like 3 weeks in a row we're talking about it. I think we got one more ad read before we move on to something else crazy that they send us that we absolutely love. Let everybody know how amazing these boxers are.
Bro, like phenomenal. Especially with like I mentioned earlier, like the 100-degree heat here. Like a big dude like me needs to keep cool. Like cotton, not cutting it, bro. 1000% not it for me. But like that like super like cooling like mesh that they have. I don't know exactly like what to call it, but like everything's cool down there. Like I worry about my sweaty armpits. I worry about everything else I can possibly control. But I mean, at least I know one thing is secured, and that's the family jewels.
Facts. Nobody wants swamp ass. You don't get swamp ass with these boxers. Let's say you're on a date and your partner catches that Manscaped on the waistband of your underwear. It's almost guaranteed to raise some eyebrows and act like a billboard on the highway to Pleasure Town. This is thanks to their Lawnmower 4.0, the best electric trimmer for below-the-waist grooming. This trimmer offers skin-safe technology designed to trim hair on loose skin. Outside of just ball trimming, they're now focusing their efforts on helping out your thigh slappers in other ways with the game-changing boxers. These boxers include the jewel pouch, a pouch designed to cradle your boys in their own special space, lined with the performance pack fabric to keep them well ventilated. Basically, just imagine your balls sipping some pina coladas, chilling on a hammock on some tropical beach. The microfabric is buttery soft and breathable, keeping your cucumber, I can't speak right now, your cucumber cool. Walk, run, strut. These moisture-wicking boxer breathe without breaking a sweat. The tagless waistband hugs your body without digging in, and it lays flat against your skin to reduce chafing, which helps with us fat guys. The front fly opening gives you easy access and makes bathroom breaks quick and efficient, even though nobody uses it like that. You can choose from an arrangement of designs and colors and sizes that range from small to 3X for all my guys out there. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code ALLSTEELERS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code ALLSTEELERS at manscaped.com. Once the Boxers 2.0 touch your sack, you'll never go back. You'll never go back. All right, Donnie. Just talked about the best boxers in the world, about keeping your cucumber cool. You want to know who was not cool, who was not smooth, who was not light in the sack in the heat of the moment at day one of Pittsburgh Steelers OTAs?
Can I take a guess?
Go ahead.
Mason Rudolph.
No, it wasn't Mason Rudolph. Although Mason Rudolph looked like Mason Rudolph. Classic, terrible, classic. It was Kevin Dotson, who I felt terrible for. I walked over to him for maybe a minute and a half. You could check the video. It's on our YouTube page. I walked over to him for maybe a minute and a half. Three questions were asked. And in those 2-3 questions, he gave away something huge. Dotson straight up said that it's his understanding and that he was told coming into the Pittsburgh Steelers camp that Mitchell Trubisky is the number one QB for the Steelers. He wouldn't say who said that, and as soon as he realized that he messed up and that it came out of his mouth, he tried really hard to turn back time and say, oh, no, that's just what I'm saying now. But it clearly, as clear as day, came out of his mouth. that Mitchell Trubisky is the number one guy. Let me ask this. Reading too much into it? Bigger story that we need to talk about? Or somewhere right in the middle?
Yes. This isn't some like groundbreaking, like revolutionary news. Like I feel like as soon as Trubisky inked his contract to come to Pittsburgh, there was kind of like a general understanding of what was going to go down, rookie quarterback coming in or not, and that was Mitch Trubisky was probably going to be the number one guy. I would understand it if they initially had like Mason in like just ahead of him, just due to him being on the team longer. So like I get it. But like Trubisky being the number one guy, like just in terms of him versus Kenny Pickett right now, probably the most unsurprising news I've gotten today. Tomlin typically, and like we even saw this in like you look back at Devin Bush's rookie year, Tomlin was very slow to integrate him into the starting core. Imagine a quarterback. Imagine a rookie quarterback being thrown out there from day one, being anointed as starter. Mike Tomlin was not going to do that. He's never going to do that. Unless that rookie quarterback earns it. But the first day of OTAs, Trubisky being the guy until proven otherwise, I'm not shaking in my boots at all.
All right, so I agree with everything that you just said. Mm-hmm. I did take it a little bit bigger than I think maybe I should have. I'll be the first to admit maybe I should have. But my first reaction was it's one thing to have Mitch as the number one guy, and I think it's another thing to let your offensive line know that Mitch is going to be the number one guy. That's how I took it. I took it as, why does Kevin Dotson have it in his head that Mitchell Trubisky is the starter right now? And why isn't it just like, oh, yeah, well, it's an open competition? Because, I mean, I agree, you agree, everybody else agrees that Mitchell Trubisky should be the guy that's taking the number one reps. And until proven otherwise, he should continue to be the number one guy taking reps because he's the veteran. They signed him in the offseason. He's been a starting quarterback in the NFL before. You know, I get it. I get the resume. But I still feel as if this was going to be an open competition, why are we not treating it as such? Why is the team not treating it as such?
I think it is. I think something must have gotten lost in translation because Tomlin and even Colbert after the draft were very adamant that like going into the summer, Kenny Pickett would have every opportunity to battle for the starting quarterback job. And even Mason Rudolph too, if some light switch inside of his brain somehow gets like flipped on.
Wait, can I interrupt you real quick?
Go ahead.
I asked Mason Rudolph if he has, and I was hoping I got a yes out of this, and I did. So maybe I baited him a little bit. But I asked Mason Rudolph if he believes he has an upper hand in the competition because he's been here, and he said yes. He said, "Oh, man, this is my fifth spring here. Of course, yes, experience plays a big role." And I was just like, I'm glad that somebody thinks that. I'm also glad that it's you. You know, I'm glad that you are the only one who thinks that. But that's the only thing I got out of Mason Rudolph. And that story's dropping tomorrow morning. So I'm sure that'll get a lot of love. A lot of Steelers fans will be like, oh, yeah. Of course, Mason's experience is going to win him the role. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of those guys. Not a lot of shut up. I bet you there's a lot of shut up.
Probably. If I had to put my money on one thing, you're going to get a lot of angry Yinzers telling you to shut up and how Pickens is going to win the starting quarterback job and how he's going to lead them Steelers down, past the Ravens and the Brownies and all that.
I would hate to be Mason Rudolph, man. If I'm Mason Rudolph, I would have asked for a trade a year ago, but at this point, like I'd be a third stringer, dude. I'd go be a third stringer somewhere before I sat here and got Pittsburgh. The abuse. Yeah, but like even as a third stringer, dude, you're just gonna get abused by Steelers.
He played more than Josh Dobbs did, and Josh Dobbs was more of a beloved backup quarterback. We watched Devin Hodges turn the ball over a lot, and he was a more beloved quarterback.
I am a more beloved quarterback than Mason Rudolph, okay? You could throw one of my cats out there, and $10 says Pittsburgh Steelers fans, including myself, will have more confidence in that cat than Mason Rudolph. I feel bad for him. Everything that's coming his way was earned. You tie the Detroit Lions. You deserve everything that you get handed to you. But if I'm Mason Rudolph, dude, I'm like, please just get me out of here, man. I don't care. You could send me behind Tom Brady, where I'm never going to play again. Just get me out of here, please. All right, you're talking about Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, so actually, perfect timing in the comment section right now, because I think I was getting ready to dive into this a little bit. Regardless of who's better, who do you want to start at quarterback for the Steelers this year? That's an interesting question. I don't think that's something we've actually talked about. We've talked about who we thought would win, but not necessarily who we want to win to start a quarterback job. I think as much as I've gone against the Mitchell Trubisky train this season,
here it is.
It's not why you think. I am just not a fan of throwing rookie quarterbacks into the fire right away. And I understand the Steelers believe they can win immediately, but they can probably win immediately with Mitchell Trubisky if he's the game manager he supposedly turned into in Buffalo in the background. It's more so of keeping Kenny Pickett readily available for the next 13 years and then Mitchell Trubisky bringing any hardware to Pittsburgh. Keep throwing all the money, all the fake money you want. Go ahead.
Steelbitsky, baby. Mitchell Steelbitsky. All right, I'm going to go against the grain, though, and I'm going to go Kenny Pickett.
Okay. I get it. I get it, though.
Here's my thought here. My thought is the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't going to win a Super Bowl this season. I mean, look, if Mitchell Trubisky looks like a good quality starting quarterback, I'm all for it. Start him. And I pushed that Mitchell Trubisky train from the jump, but I pushed the Mitchell Trubisky train from the jump when I thought that Malik Willis was going to be the first draft pick or Desmond Ridder was going to be the first draft pick. At no point did I think Kenny Pickett was going to be the first quarterback in the draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now that it is, I just don't see the point. I feel bad for Mitch. I think that he's deserves a shot. I think that he should be in the situation that he's in right now. And truthfully, I think that the Steelers should make Kenny Pickett earn it before anything else. But if Kenny Pickett's floor is here and Mitchell Trubisky's here, what's the difference? That's my biggest question is what are we waiting for? Are you just waiting for Mitchell Trubisky to be 10 times better than he is? Because he's not going to be. I just don't see that. So why not just toss Kenny Pickett into the flames and say, hey, do this now. I agree with everything you said. I follow that same philosophy. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers at any point believe that their offensive line is going to be just as bad as last year, their defense isn't going to be better than last year, and their wide receiver situation is going to be better than last year, then by all means, let Mitch burn. Let him do his thing. See what you can get out of him. But if they have confidence in this offensive line, if they have confidence in this defense, if they have confidence in Najee Harris and they have confidence in their wide receivers, I just try to win a Super Bowl. And just like you said, Mitchell Trubisky's not going to bring any hardware home. I'm not saying Kenny Pickett is because he's not gonna, but I do think that we both agree that the chances of hardware coming home to the Pittsburgh Steelers is slightly higher with Kenny Pickett than Mitchell Trubisky. I just think Kenny's a winner.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just don't know the immediate returns that you're going to get out of a rookie quarterback under Matt Canada.
With that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Does that change with a guy that's played as long as Kenny has already?
I mean, when you look at Ben, for example, last year, we saw one of the most accomplished quarterbacks.
I'm going to put this up one more time while you're talking.
In NFL history, basically. You're hilarious. you saw a very old corpse of him kind of run Matt Canada's offense. You're like, all right, well, it doesn't matter who you put back there. Can we really get any worse than what we just saw? And that's no slander towards Ben at all, but it's just Father Time caught up with him. And it was clearly time for him to go. So whether it's Trubisky or Pickett, can we get any worse than that? So I really don't think the mentality in Pittsburgh was, oh, hey, we have our choice of quarterbacks. We don't want somebody who can start right away and come in and challenge Mitch Trubisky. We want a developmental guy, because if that was the case, they would have went and they would have gotten Ridder or Willis, whoever it might be. They coveted Pickett from the beginning. They clearly believe in his talents, and I think that's why the quarterback competition will be open heading into the summer. And if Pickett's starting week 1, I'm not going to be surprised. Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised at all. I just think you let Mitch start out the season. If the Steelers are like 2-5, 2-6, then you get the green light, put Pickett in there for like maybe like the last half of the year, let him get that game experience, and then you kind of roll from there. But the Steelers don't believe that's going to happen because of the aforementioned reasons you had already brought up about the roster, about the improved offensive line, about the defense having their playmakers everywhere and returning to their 2019 heights, about the receivers stepping up, and about Najee Harris getting even better.
Yep. Look, I agree. And I think my point, or my not even an argument, I don't even think it's an argument, my stance on this, I just wanted to make it known that it's very soft. Like, it's not in a week I could change 100% because it's day one of OTAs. We have no idea what's going to happen. We don't know. It's all assumption on what Mitchell Trubisky is going to look like. It's all assumption on what Kenny Pickett's going to look like. It's all assumption on how bad Mason Rudolph's going to look like, although maybe a better assumption. I think that come training camp, come the preseason, we'll start to see what's up. We'll get a better opinion. And I think it's just too early right now to say. I think they're too evenly matched, as we keep going back and forth on. I think they're too evenly matched to say this is the guy I want to be the starting quarterback. I think right now it's just like very on paper reasons. And, just like your on paper reason and my on paper reason make total sense to different sides of the argument. That's going to change completely once we see what their talent levels are with this team. And that's going to change because the team around them is totally different than anything they've ever had before. So,
yeah. I will say, like, if we get into the preseason and, like, Kenny's just throwing dimes left and right, and, like, he looks like the first quarterback taken off of the board, and Trubisky kind of just looks like whatever, start him. Like
you got it.
You have to start Kenny Pickett. And, like, the whole, like, sitting rookie quarterbacks just to make sure they're not like damaged goods right away. I feel like the Steelers probably have a good enough roster to where you can get away with throwing a rookie quarterback out there, because this isn't like Chicago with Justin Fields, where like you're just throwing that kid in like the worst situation known to man, and you're like, all right, go turn this franchise around by yourself, So I think he's probably much better set up for success than a lot of first year quarterbacks might be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what my argument is or my point here is that I think the Pittsburgh Steelers could either be in a situation where they still need a year, or they could be in a situation where everything but the quarterback situation is ready to win. And that's going to depend on which quarterback's better. And we don't know what quarterback's going to be better, but you got to play the best one. You can't, this isn't a situation, like if it was Ben, you keep Ben in there. No matter what, you keep Ben in there because you want whoever it is to, one, learn behind him, and two, not be damaged goods. Ben gives you the best shot to win no matter when he's on the field or how old he is or how washed he is, whatever you want to call him. Right now, it's two guys who are pretty evenly matched, and I think that only time is going to tell which one should be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's how we're going to go out here. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. And as always, use our promo code at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. We'll be back on Thursday. Enjoy your week. Plenty of OTAs ahead. Peace.